Hello everyone, this is the last in a series of 5 videos that I made to describe how to use Excel. So we have typed in a chart, we've done some calculations, and we have constructed a graph. So the next thing we want to do is we want to do a linear regression analysis, which we've sort of already done. We have our equation of our line right here, but we want to do this last step because we might want to have those values in cells where we can do calculations. Right now they're just displayed on the graph and we can't do any calculations. So this is a least squares analysis. This means I'm drawing the best straight line that I can through my points, where I either get the line to go through my points or to minimize the distance between my points. So you might notice for this graph right here, there are points on the line and there are some points above and below the line. So the idea is to minimize the distance between the points in the line. So this is the best fit line. To do a linear regression analysis, there's a built-in Excel function called the LINEST function. It's an array function. So what we want to do is we want to first select the data or the place on the spreadsheet we want our data to go. And that's why I scrolled down here a little bit. I'm going to put my data here, I think. So what you need to do is you need to highlight 2 columns by 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you have to highlight an area that is 2 columns wide and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 rows and 2 columns. And then that tells Excel that's where I want the data to go. So then once you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to click on this f of x where it says insert function. So if I do this, now I do LINEST a lot, so it says most recently used. But the first time that you do this, this is not going to come up. So what you want is this can be found under statistical. If you go under statistical and then scroll down, you can see that the LINEST function is right there. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I need to tell Excel what my y values are. So I click on this arrow right here. And it brings me back to my spreadsheet. So let me scroll up right here. So my y's are going to be the absorbance. So I'm going to highlight that and press enter. The x's are my protein concentration. So I'm going to hit enter there. And there where it says constant, I'm going to type true. And where it says stats, I'm also going to type true. So that means that I want the line to be in a form y equals mx plus b, and the intercept is not necessarily going to be 0. That's what the first true means. The second true means that I want Excel to give me my error estimates. Okay, so if I hit OK, then they're there. And sometimes what I like to do is I like to draw some borders around here. Maybe I want to center the values, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll change the significant figures. Like for example, I don't need to necessarily have this many significant figures, so I might do something like that. Now, most of these values I'm probably not going to use. But the values that I'm most interested in is this value right here. That's my slope. And you can see that's the 0.9967 right there. So that's my slope. So I'm just going to type slope here to kind of remind me that that's where it is. And then over here, that's my y-intercept. So I'm just going to type y-intercept so I can remember what that is. And this is the error in the slope. So that means I'm going to use an ASCII function. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and type 241. So this is just something I actually remember that gives me a plus or minus. So Alt 241 gives me plus or minus. So that's my error. So that tells me the slope is 0.9967. Sorry, the error is 0.013 divided by 0.9967, and that gives me the error. That's the error in the slope. It's 0.0064 divided by 0.0026. So that's the error that I have in the slope. And the next thing I want to do is, that's my r squared. So I'm going to write r squared, and I'm going to even be official about this, I'm going to highlight the 2 up here and get my font group and put that as a superscript. So that tells me the goodness of fit. And again, that value is right here. At this point, I'm probably not going to use the rest of these values. But the reason that we do this is because, say I were to give you an unknown, and I gave you, I gave you an unknown protein solution, and I gave you the absorbance and asked you to calculate the concentration, you'd need to be able to use the equation of the straight line, the slope, and the y-intercept, and that would give you a cell address that you could use to enter that formula. So that is the conclusion of the 5 tutorials. I hope this was helpful, and see you in class or in lab, depending on where we'll be using the program. Thanks for your attention.